What's up? What's up? I'm back. Everything is all good. Where's everybody at? La la la. Come one, come all. I see a like. I see a person. Ollie, welcome back. Everything's all good. She just had a question. We need to get an AC for the oldest boy's room. We don't have central air. Our house is I gotta rearrange this so you can see me. But this isn't working. All right. How did I do this before? Anyways, our house is one of the oldest houses in our town. It's like, it was built in, I want to say 1806, my dad found when he looked up the records. It's an old house. So obviously we don't have central air. And being so old, fuck, when this house was built, there wasn't even electricity. It's crazy. Like all the outlets, before we started redoing them, all the outlets are mounted on the outside of the walls. There's like no insulation. It's all horsehair plaster. The oldest house in town was a block from here, and they just tore it down. Somebody bought it and tore it down last summer. I was kind of bummed out about that. As I like historical shit, I guess. But yeah, it's an old fucking house, so with no insulation, the hot air rises, and Caleb's room gets hot as shit, so she was calling me asking about what AC to get. You gotta bring yourself up here, bro. I'll help you out when you get here. You find it, we will hang. Once you get here, I got you. So, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of good spots in PA to go riding. I grew up riding BMX bikes and dirt bikes and eventually quads. I don't have anything right now. I'd like to get a bike again, like an actual like BMX bike again, and just ride around. Well, nowadays you don't know with the gas. I mean, I don't know how long of a drive it would be, Elijah, for you to come here. I know it takes like 10 hours to get to my mom's house in South Carolina. I don't know if that's further or closer than you are to me. I got to go down in June. The last week in June, I'm going to go down. I've never been down to my mom's new house. They moved down there 2 years ago. They were up here for a little while. And it's just as much as I work, we haven't made it down yet. So we're going to go down for a week. I don't know if you'd want to. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be any cheaper either way now. The flying is outrageous. Everything's outrageous right now. The flights are outrageous too. The problem with the bus, I used to take the Greyhound. When I was a kid, like when they lived in Virginia, they'd put me on a plane and I'd fly back and forth. It was like a half-hour flight. By the time you got up and leveled out, you came back down. And then when I got into like my teenage years, the flights just became too much. So they started sending me back and forth between Maryland and here on a Greyhound bus. And if I take it by car, I can get there in like 5.5 hours. When I took it by Greyhound, it was like a 10-hour drive because they stop everywhere. 8-hour drive isn't too bad. I like driving though. I've always been a driver. I always like road trips. Before I had my son, I'd go like once a month. I would just drive until I got sick of driving and just stayed in that place for the weekend. Checked it out. And then once I had my son, I kind of settled down and I'm just here now. The longest trip I ever did, when I left Pensacola, as you guys heard in my story, I drove that straight. That was 18 hours by myself. That was a long trip with no stops, really. My mom was trying to get me to stay in a hotel room, but I just wanted to get it over with. So I just drove straight through. It was a long fucking trip. So, anyways, back to Jen. She was a wild one. I wasn't really, honestly, I wasn't really close with her like we are now until probably a couple years ago. I think a lot of that had to do because I was always coming in and out of my brother and sister's lives. And my other sister. I have another sister on my mom's side. So their brother would always be coming in and out with me moving back and forth like I was. So she kind of did her own thing. And I did my own thing growing up once she hit like teenage years. So we never really were close. Now we're really close. Like Jen and I are tight. But she was wild. You heard the Easy Bake Oven story, and she's not afraid to throw down, that's for sure. What's going on, Justice? You all right? Well, that sucks. Is that the last? Was there other options? Like now what? That sucks, man. It really does. So what? The IV, how long would you have to do that for? Just until it's gone, or something you'd have to continue to do, or you don't know yet, or what? Well, I mean, at this point, with everything you've been through, whatever it takes now to get past this, I guess what choice do you have? We need the Big Daddy wrench around. You got this. You just got to fight it. You've been fighting all your life. You're stronger than anybody I've ever met. You can do this too. So what else do we want to talk about? Justice. Well, we're here for you too, you know. You don't have to take this all on yourself. I mean, all we can do is support you, but we're here. I'm here. You know how to find me. What's it like to be Wagonman? Well, you live at work a lot. That's for fucking sure. Um, yeah, I work a lot. Other than that, I try not to take life too seriously. I cannot find a spot where I can be in. There we go. Move this back here. Um, I just took it too serious for too long, and I can't do it. My wife and I are freaking goofballs. Really, all we do is work and hang out. She's my best friend. I don't go anywhere without her. I could, I just don't want to. So we're those cheesy ass people. We have our own language. We talk to each other. Okay, Wagon Man was created. I'll tell that story real quick. So when my wife and I got married, we uh, we didn't go to a church. We had an outdoor wedding at a family friend's farm. We had it in the barn, and we had hired a justice of the peace to come out and marry us. So my boss was there, and another coworker was there, and I'm at the altar, and we went. Dee wanted it a certain way. She wanted a certain kind of wedding, so she ended up. We got her a horse and carriage, and she came up to the tent where we had where we were gonna get married at outside the barn. She come up with her dad in the horse and carriage, and she's coming up the driveway, and I'm standing at the altar, and the fucking justice of the peace hasn't even showed up yet, and I'm like freaking the hell out. So finally, he comes flying in, throws his robe on, is fucking shit faced. He comes up, he marries us, and he introduced us as Mr. and Mrs. Wagon. Not still wagon, wagon. And so when I got back from my honeymoon, my boss started calling me Wagon Man, and that's where it came from. Some drunk ass judge didn't even know my fucking name when he announced us as being married, so I became Wagon Man. Dude, he was hitting on everybody. He hit on both my moms. He hit on her mom. That dude was shit faced. He was the drunkest person at my wedding. So, yeah, there's your hypocritical judges around here. Dude, I was freaking out so bad. Like, here she comes in this horse and carriage, and this motherfucker is nowhere to be found. Everybody's there staring at me. I'm standing up at the altar by myself. It was bad. Then the caterers didn't show up till like an hour and a half late. We hired this DJ, and it's raining outside now. And we're in the barn. Finally, the food shows up. It's supposed to be the time where the DJ is like playing like the dance music and shit. So he's playing like drop it like it's hot while people are eating fucking roast beef and shit. It was fucked up. It was an interesting freaking wedding. For sure. Definitely true still wagon fashion. If it could have went wrong, it went wrong. Other than her saying I do and not fuck you. Although she probably regrets it now. Yeah, that's exactly what he did too. My dad was pissed. It was hilarious. So yeah, that was the birth of the Wagon Man. And then what? It'll be 6 years this year that we've been married. So for 4 years before I started doing this YouTube shit, my boss always just called me Wagon Man, so it stuck. What you waiting for, Justice? Get that medicine up in you. Calm your nerves a little. Interesting is a kind way to put it, I guess. I'm something, that's for sure. Don't know what. Love you, Justice. You my boy. You guys help me just as much. I can honestly say that I've dealt with more of the shit that I've not dealt with in my life, like from a mental health standpoint, in the last 2 or 3 months of doing this channel with you guys. Through the car talks, through just hanging out with you guys on Discord. Like, I've always been somebody that gravitated towards helping people. And for a long time, in me worrying about your shit, I didn't have to worry about mine. So that passion to want to be there for people has always been there. It's just part of me. But until recently, I used that as a way to ignore my shit. And through doing this shit with you guys, it's helped me and forced me to be honest with myself. And so the shit that I'm saying to you guys, I need to hear just as much. But I've never allowed it to come out of my mouth for myself. So I appreciate you guys. You guys help me a lot. If I'm going to come on here and be honest with you guys like I am and do these fucking types of videos that I do, I got to be real with myself. I am not the type of person, I cannot allow myself to be hypocritical. So I watch these videos as much as you guys do to keep myself accountable. If I say it on here or I give advice on here about something, I don't want to just do it lip service and not turn that on myself too. Not keep myself accountable. I've been so turned off over the years by doctors, by addiction counselors back in the day, by growing up with one side of my family being very involved in the church and the hypocrisy in that. I yeah, and it's also really easy to suppress that shit and not deal with it. But the problem with that, at least for me, was over the last 10 years of being with my wife, she's allowed me to be me and figure out whatever that is and grow from it. And so, therefore, I've been able to finally start working on myself instead of always trying to figure out how I was going to pay the next bill, living paycheck to paycheck. And we still do. We still do. It's just not as bad. So I never really had the time or the understanding to be able to start working on myself. But yet I didn't. I still didn't do it. I did it when it came to her and I. I did it when it was something that I needed to change for myself to help our relationship. But my own personal shit, I didn't deal with that shit. I never did. Till now. So, I'm learning as you guys do. We're doing this together. I see you popping up over there, Elijah. What you talking about? You factual fool. Sorry, I'm just trying to read your guys' stuff. Yeah, man. I'm going to be 44 in September, and I think that possibly this year, I think finally this will be the first year where I don't have to struggle and stress about shit. Like, from being able to take care of the family and the financial side of it. But it took a long time. I've never until now truly been stable on my own since I moved out. So this is all new to me. So I can't. The anxiety attacks, man, there's no adrenaline in that shit for me. My anxiety attacks are fucking horrible. Horrible. I fucking can't breathe. I fucking freak out. I can't sit still. It's fucking bad. I've had anxiety problems for fuck. I don't even know. At least since I was a teenager. But I get real bad panic attacks. My fucking arm will go numb. I'll get like sharp pains in it and shit. That's awesome, man. Even now, I don't really need a lot of shit. Like, this house is full of shit. And I can honestly say, out of everything in here, my drum set, probably my PlayStation, my PA system, my clothes, and my car are really the only things I own. All this shit's my wife's. I don't need it. If something ever happened to us, she could fucking take it all. Give me my drums and my stereo equipment, and I'm fucking on my way. I don't know if it was just me moving around so much when I was growing up or what, but like even after I was out on my own, every couple years I'd have to move because I was so used to moving back and forth all my life that one thing nearby. Enlighten me, Elijah. No, there's things she owns. I said I do. Trust me. I handed them over. Yeah, you're hurting my brain. Stop making me fucking think, Elijah. What the hell? That stop sign has been around since my early 20s. Justin actually got that. Jen's brother. I just kind of took it from him. I mean, I'm glad that I moved around. Like my wife, she's only ever lived here. And like the beach, I took her to the beach for one of her first times. Like she's traveled more now that she's been married to me because like going to see my mom in Maryland or whatever. I just like to travel. But like what are you talking about, Justice? I lived in Florida. They transferred me down there when I was 21 and I came back to Pennsylvania. Well, they just worry about you. It's hard. It's hard not to worry about the ones you love. Sometimes you worry about them too much, and it seems overbearing. But it's all in love, as annoying as it can be sometimes. Anyways, what are we talking? Oh, Florida. I think it was almost 3 years that I was down there. I went down there in 2000. I lived in Pensacola. Just take a deep breath, Justice, and process it at your own pace. Don't let it overwhelm you. Take it one step at a time. Where's Where's Coral Springs in relation to like Pensacola, Elijah? That a boy. Toke it up. But I lived down there, and like I said, I went down there initially because I got a job. Yeah, the base that I worked on, Justice, it was pretty cool. We shared that base with the Blue Angels. That was like their home base. So like I'd sit in my office and watch out the window and they'd be doing flybys and shit and practicing. It was pretty cool. Pensacola, what the fuck was that called? NS N something was the base. It wasn't the main active base. This one was, like I said, it was like contracted companies because I was government contracted. And then the Hells Angels were there. Or not the Hells Angels, the Blue Angels were there. And that's kind of where they like their home base was. And when I was there, that'd be a cool job, but that'd be stressful as fuck, man. Imagine having that shit on your conscience. That shoot don't come out. And you gotta fucking live with that shit. I don't know if I'd want to do that, man. Anna, she has a son, my stepson, who will be 18 in December. And I have a son that will be 14 in July. So we have two kids, but we don't have any kids together. She can't have kids, and that's fine with both of us. Two kids is plenty. So, but Caleb's my son. I don't see it any different than my actual son. He's always just been whatever. So, yeah, I try to keep them both as equal as possible. So, but yeah, when I was down on the base, when I first got hired with that contracting company up in Maryland, I only had a high school degree. And the person that this company uh, had contact with in the Pentagon, he was an elder or a deacon or some shit at my parents' church. And I had royally fucked everything up in Pennsylvania. Michelle, welcome. I'm okay with heights. My thing is like feeling confined. It's weird. I'm not claustrophobic, but like if I'm taking my shirt off and it gets stuck on my head, I'll freak the fuck out and start hyperventilating. But I can be in a tiny ass room if I needed to be, or in a crawl space. But like if anything gets stuck on my body or like anything like that, I freak the living fuck out. It's weird. But heights don't bother me. So I started out at that company. They had me hired as a tech publicist. So they would uh, they would write manuals. We worked on the unmanned aircraft project, the original first couple generations of the UAVs that they use now, the helicopters and the planes that they use to go over and do surveillance. I was on the ground level of that in an instructional sense. And when I first got in there, they were just doing tech publications, like books. And my job initially was to just review it, make sure there wasn't anything fucked up with the graphics in it or anything like that. Just a basic job. And then, like a year into it, they decided they wanted to get into flight simulators. And so they just walked in the office one day and said, "You're going to do the graphics, figure it out." No college, no nothing. So I just taught myself how to do it. And then I got into this program with this girl that lived down in Pensacola. That's how I ended up down there. She did the programming. I did the graphics. They sent me out to Pasadena for 2 weeks to learn this graphic-based computer language called Rapid. It was only used by the government, and it was more object oriented than like programming oriented. So, anyways, we decided they decided that they wanted to make a flight simulator identical to the ones that they use in the Humvees when they fly the unmanned aircraft. So she would do all the programming. I did all the graphics for it and all the animations. And this thing was two 24-inch dual monitors with touch pads and keypads, and we had to program in flight failure situations so that the instructor could have a separate control module and he could hit a button and the plane would be going down, and we had to program into it what you'd have to do to bring the plane back, and it was interesting. So that's what I was working on when I worked down there. And then, like I said in my story, after Nikki died, the drugs just became ridiculous, and that guy was kind enough to come up with some bullshit story and lay me off, but he was from recovering alcoholics background, and that's the whole reason why he gave me a chance in the first place. And so when I got back into my shit, he had to cut me free. So then I spent another year down in Florida waiting tables at this German creamery on the beach. I was working like 6 days a week. I was making bank. Down there, it was good too. They made their own ice cream. It was fucking super thick. And then the owner was this German dude that would just sit back there fucking slamming beers, flinging food out the window. It was great. It was a good time. Other than the situation that I was in work-wise, I really enjoyed working there. I waited tables there for a while. It was pretty cool. What the fuck does my shirt say? I was wondering how long it was going to take for somebody to ask me that. See if I can get it. Surprisingly enough, my mother-in-law bought me this shirt for Christmas. Dee's mom. A day without weed is like... Just kidding. I have no idea. There you go. But anyways, that's your Florida story, Elijah. You know how the rest ended. So, what else? What's next? What's the next question? What you guys want to know? I fucking hate the sound of my own voice. It was really weird when I started doing these recordings. Hi, Michelle. Right on. We'll figure that out, Justice. Yeah, it's weird. Like back in the day when we used to have like answering machines and I'd hear myself, it would drive me crazy. And then when I first started doing these videos, I fucking hated it. I don't know what it is. I just don't like the sound of my voice. It's weird. Yeah, that's not bad at all, Justice. That would be cool. You don't have to listen, fool. Not much, Anna. Ah, look, now you're backtracking. Uh huh. I see how it is. Watch that shit you're about to step in while you're trying to back out of the door on that one. So, what else? No, I was just talking about Pensacola when I lived down there for a little bit. That's really about it. So, what's going on with everybody? I mean, we know what's going on with you, Justice, but what about everybody else? How's everybody been? What's going on with you guys? What you struggling with? If not anything, that's fantastic. Do you guys like the new format for the car talks? As far as like the structure of it, how I like being able to put like some kind of phrase for it. Like I've been in the last couple on either side of the image. You step in meek usually. I'm hoping that it's crazy that one test one I did the other day, this camera or this phone, that like popping sound you heard in it, that was rain. Like it picks it up like crazy. I might have to start doing some drumming videos again now that this phone can handle it. That other one I tried a couple times and it just couldn't handle the cymbals and shit. It would just sound like ass. So I haven't done any of that. A buddy of mine just asked me if I wanted to go in 2 Saturdays from now and fuck around at an open mic with him. I haven't been on stage for a while. I kind of miss it. It's definitely something I always enjoyed. But I don't like bars. Like I never was a bar person. So it's weird to me that like if I'm on stage in a place, I'm cool with it. But like if I wasn't playing there, I probably wouldn't go there whenever I was doing like cover bands. I I think it's the cheapskate in me. Like it was weird because I, my dad, Jen's dad, was a very frugal man, and so from his side of it, I'm a fucking cheapskate. But my stepdad, on the other hand, he likes quality, and anything that he gets is the top of the line of whatever it is, or he won't buy it. So I have both sides of it, but I'm definitely a cheapskate. Like I can't. I have a hard time justifying getting anything for myself, like toys or anything, over my kids. Like I don't buy new clothes all the time. I don't really get anything for myself because I feel like whatever. They get everything. They get all the new shit, the computers, all that shit. I don't really need it. Oh yeah, my stepdad. Everything about music comes from my stepdad. I mean, I a lot of my musical tastes, like the stuff that my dad, Jen's dad, grew up listening to, I like musically, but as far as like me playing drums, he bought me my first drum set. As far as like the appreciation for quality of like stereo audio equipment, that's 100% him. Um, yeah, I'm very grateful to him for that. My passion for music, hands down, comes from him. Right? There's so much good music back then. I can't get with today's shit. I can't. There are some things that I do like, but I don't know. There's no passion in it. It's all fake. It's all fucking. It's all about the money. And as a drummer, fucking simulated drum beats makes me cringe. It's like it's not like. I want to see somebody play something. No, obviously not rap. I like rap too. And I like all kinds of rap. But if it's going to be not rap, but not real instruments, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm a purist, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I music has been probably since I was 13. It's been my world. It's helped me so much. Any situation you're in life, you can think of a song that it reminds you of. Or you can hear a song and remember the first time you heard it. Or remember that feeling you had the day you heard it. Or anything. It transports you places. It's crazy. It really is a link to the soul. That sucks. Are they migraines, Elijah? Stress or what? A lot of times for me, and now, honestly, I haven't done it since I started doing this shit with you guys, but in the past, when my shit would get too much, mentally, or I was in a dark place, or whatever I was struggling with at the time, I would go downstairs all night long in the pitch black and just sit there and listen to music, and it would get me out of it. I don't know. I don't know if I could have got through a lot of the things mentally that I've struggled with over the years and I still struggle with now if I didn't have that outlet as a release. So I owe my stepdad a lot for that. But yeah, that's music. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'll listen to certain things depending on what's going on at the time. So, but a lot of times, like on the nights that I would just sit in the dark and listen to it, I would listen to like dark, sad, depressing shit, and somehow it would get rid of my depression. Like, it never made sense. Dee never understood it. It seemed like whatever. But the darker it was, the better I felt. I don't know if it was that needing to feel like I wasn't the only one, so listening to somebody else's agony on a record, or at least the way they portrayed it, helped me. But for a long time, that was my go-to. I met Dee at a Tom Petty concert for the first time. That's where her and I met at. Now, she is my best friend's wife's best friend, but prior to that, I had never met her. Yeah, I got a couple playlists for the dark times. I've replaced that playlist when I'm down with the whole newfound passion that I have over the last year or so, couple years, I guess, with that reggae, with the reggae rock, like the dubstep, the sublimey type shit. The message is so positive and all of that shit that I've went that direction now more than I've went like to darker places to get out. And my perspective on life has changed in the last 2 years just from listening to that genre of music. I don't think there's ever been a type of music, a style of music, or an artist or group of artists in my life that has caused me to change my outlook on anything as much as that genre has in the last 2 years. It's crazy. It got me to stop being so self-centered and to be more open-minded with people, places, and things, and caring about other people. It really did help. That's why I'm always bugging you guys about it. Wagonman and his stupid reggae shit again. Right. I got you listening to some of it now, Elijah. I broke you down. I had to bug the shit out of you for a while, but now you're listening to it now more than you want to realize or acknowledge, huh? Thanks, Anna. I just want to hang out with you guys and talk about whatever. I don't really ever want to have an agenda with this shit. I just want to chill. I don't know that it's a bad thing that you care too much. I think that it could become a bad thing if you don't know how to direct that caring. Does that make any sense? Like, you can care, but you can't let that caring take over and become the main priority and neglect the other parts of you that need attention too. You can become obsessed on it, go down that rabbit hole, I think is what I'm trying to say. Right. Everything has its time and place. You can't let one thing dominate your thoughts, or that thing will take over, and that might not always take you to a good place. You know? It's a good song. It's a good song. See, the one live I did with Cuzzo, I can't stay in the thing. The problem I have is here. The problem I have is a couple years ago, I guess it's been about a year and a half now. I don't know how I did it, but does that work? There we go. I don't know how I did it, but somehow I tore my abdominal muscles in half. Like what happens sometimes when you get pregnant, and a lot of times you guys will have like your stomach muscles up top, they'll like rip. Well, I did that somehow. I don't know how. There's nothing they can do for it. Any surgery that they could do would be cosmetic. The only way that it would ever heal is if I basically went on bed rest for 6 months. And that's not going to happen. So I move around as much as I do because it hurts to sit in one spot very often. So that's why you guys always see me going from the couch to the floor, couch to the couch to the floor. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with because I don't see any time in the future where I can just not work for 6 months. So it's not bad. I've gotten used to it, but it makes me fidgety. So that's why I move around so much. I don't know how I fucking did it. At first they thought it was a hernia and they scheduled me for a surgery. And then I get to the surgeon's office to plan it and he's like, no, it's not that, it's this. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I know the nickname of it's Mummy Tummy. No, this wasn't a hernia. They thought it was a hernia. They were going to have a surgery. And somehow, some way, I lifted something wrong and it's completely detached. So it's weird because there's like a lump in my stomach. I call it my little bastard child. And basically, it's my intestines because uh, the stomach muscles aren't there to hold it in. Happy birthday, kitty. Yeah, it's the exact same thing that happens to you guys, Anna. Somehow I did that to myself. So, which is whatever. Like I said, I'm fine with it. It hurts sometimes, but the whole point of that conversation wasn't a sob story. It was just to explain to you guys why I fucking fidget so much. I just have to stay moving. I can't sit in one spot for very long. That's why a lot of times when I'm over at Eric's, I'm always standing up behind the couch and stuff because it's just easier to stand. Yeah, Justice. My muscles do the same thing. Like last night, I was driving a fork truck at work and it doubled me over. Like these really sharp, like almost like you're getting electrocuted. It's weird. It's like real sharp pains and it'll last for like 15 minutes, but it'll double me over. And I do a lot of lifting and shit at work, so. Elijah, I don't know if you've ever said anything truer before. You are definitely a spaz, my friend. Yeah, it's weird. So, I get it mostly when I sit. Like, I'm okay when I stand. But, like, to put socks on sucks ass. And to, like, not to be gross, but going to the bathroom's hard. Because you don't realize how much you use your stomach muscles until you can't use them. I'm sure you know, Justice. I'm just messing around with you. You know, you take shots at me all day in fun, Elijah, then I get back at you and you get all, take it easy. Don't get defensive. I can be a jokester too, though. Yeah, you and I have talked about that before, Elijah. I can eat anything I want. It's all in my upper stomach, not my lower stomach. Dee has a lot of problems with her digestive stuff. She had to have her, oh, what the hell is that you have to have? It's not your appendix. What the hell is it? Kidney? No. I don't know, something that processes the food. It's pretty common. I forget the name of it now, though. She had to have that done a couple years ago. And now it like depends on what she can eat. She can't eat certain things because just she can't. Yes, gallbladder. Thank you. She had that removed a year and a half ago. So we've been trying to get through that with her. Like I've had to eat way more chicken than I think I've ever wanted in my life because she couldn't eat like red meats for a long time, and we're not that bougie that we can have his and her dinners. So I just kind of catered to whatever. That's cool though. I got to learn a bunch of new things that I like now. Yeah, I've never taken that. Most of the meds I was on was like sleep medicine because I'm horrible, horrible fucking insomniac. That's an episode we're gonna have one of these days, insomnia. And they had me on a lot of mood stabilizers, and anxiety medicine, and depression medicine. But I never really was on any of the other stuff. I never really had like hyperactivity or anything like that. They had me on Xanny bars for a little while for anxiety, and I felt like a fucking zombie. I hated it. I didn't want it anymore. The last time I went to a doctor before I decided to come off my meds, my body's tolerances adapt so fast that the doses were out of control. Like I was taking 1,500 milligrams of Depakote a day, just the mood stabilizer, and shit would work for like 2 months, and then my body would be used to it, and it would just stop working. So we constantly had to change shit, constantly had to up the doses, and finally, the one day I walked into his office, and he's like, "I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do?" And I got up and walked out, and that was it. It's not my fucking job to tell you how to do your job. And I never went back. Yeah, it sucks. But then on the other hand, too, that tolerance that I have and that ability for my body to adapt so easy is the reason why I didn't die that day. The amount of pills I took that day would have killed anybody. But luckily for me, because of that same problem we're talking about with the psych meds, my liver just took it. Yeah, Anna. I For the years that I was on it, I needed to be on something. And even though it was frustrating feeling like a lab rat all the time, I had to do that. I had to take it then. I wasn't in a spot where I could control myself without the help of the psych meds. But in the end, it became so much of it. I didn't feel like a human anymore. I just felt like I was watching my body from another body. And I hated it. Like, what was the point? I mean, I wasn't dealing with anything mentally. I was just numbing myself because that's what the doctors were giving me. And I just couldn't do it anymore. But I needed that shit. For that 15 years that I was on it, I had to have that at the time. I wasn't strong enough to not have the medicine. What's up? How you doing? So yeah, that's a fine line with that psych med shit. It does help and it does serve its purpose. So that's that. What's your next question? What else are you gonna drill the old wagon man about? Justice, you feeling any better? Oh, that would drive me crazy. My stepdad can't have milk. I love milk. So that would suck if I couldn't have it. Sir, the hokey pokey is not a spoken thing. I will not do the hokey pokey. I do have limits, ladies and gentlemen. And this white boy don't dance. I need to repack this. Yeah, that sucks. I go through some milk. Alright, guys, before we get into another topic, give me a minute. I'll be right back. Alright. So, where is someplace you guys would either like to live or visit? Alright, Ollie. Love you too, bro. Like, if you could go to your dream place, Scotland, huh? Prague. I don't have a place. I have an existence. The location doesn't matter. My dream someday is to own a houseboat and live off the coast of somewhere, anywhere. It could even be different coasts. It could be different places. And I just want to go out, away from land, drop anchor, and live out on the water in the houseboat, and only come to shore to get supplies. That's my dream. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's on the East Coast, the West Coast. Maybe it would be multiple places. Maybe it would be off one of the islands. I don't care. I just want to be on the water and live on the water and not come to shore unless I have to. Everybody could come visit me out on the boat, but I don't want to be on land. You heard the beeping? I mean, this phone picks up everything, huh? Yeah, a boathouse. That's what I'm talking about. What do I do to stay in shape? I don't necessarily say I'm in shape. I don't do anything. My job is very physical. That's all I do. there's just, you see the stats. I've shown you my Fitbit shit and stuff. Between the walking and the lifting and the up and down the stairs and all that shit, it's all farm muscle. I don't go to the gym or anything. Not that I work on a farm, but you know what I mean. I'm just very active at work. Canada would be cool. No, not really. I mean, like I said, with Dee having her gallbladder removed, it changed our eating habits some, but honestly, I burn so many calories a day that I'm usually in a deficit. I mean, I don't know, my watch is downstairs charging, but I burn thousands and thousands. Like, I think last night I burned like 3,500 calories in 8 hours, and I ate a salad for dinner. That's really all I had. So I'm usually in a deficit with the calories. I can pretty much do whatever I want to do. I never really was a big pork fan. Like pork chops, I don't like them. They're dry. I don't like dry foods. I like some pulled pork, but you know what I did do? This was probably 4 years ago. I got pretty heavy for me. It was heavier than I'd ever been. And so, just the physicality of work. I didn't do any diets. I didn't change what I ate. I just set a calorie amount a day that I allowed myself to have. And I used my phone, and anytime I ate anything or drank anything, like I even included the drinks. Like I think it was like 1,200 calories a day or whatever the lowest I could have that was not unhealthy, I did. And I tracked everything, no matter what it was. And then I lost like fucking 30 pounds that summer. And I didn't do anything other than watch it. So I didn't change my eating habits, I just changed the amounts that I ate. And I decided that, like, if I wanted to pop, that I was sacrificing some food to make up for that calories. What sucks now is with that injury, I can't do any like stomach muscles. So, and the more weight I lose, the more defined that spot will be. So it just looks like I'm bigger than I am as far as like stomach wise. Yeah, Justice. I really haven't been out west too much. I bet you when it comes to nature and shit, it would be pretty cool out there. I mean, we have stuff here in PA, but it can't be anything like what you have out there. Yeah, and that happens. A lot of people gain weight whenever they quit smoking cigarettes. Oh, that's part of my tattoo. I thought I had stuff on me from work. Justice, once I get SteamYard, you gonna come on here with me? Maybe I'll look into it next weekend. D would allow you to kidnap me. You're gonna have to take that up with the CEO of my company, though. It's hard enough for him to give me my days off that I want. I put in for the end of June to go see my mom in January, and they just now approved it and decided I was allowed to take a week of my 3 weeks vacation. So you'd have to take it up with them. D would probably let me go wherever, or even go with me. Yeah, I like camping. I do like the woods. That was one thing about growing up either on the ocean or on the bay, and then here in Pennsylvania, in Western PA, with the woods. Like, I spent a lot of time in the woods growing up. Dee's badass. I got very, very fortunate with her. She's definitely my best friend, for sure. She worries too damn much. That's where we're opposite. She worries too much, and sometimes I don't worry enough. So the balance lies somewhere in between. But yeah, I didn't think that I'd ever find anybody after Nikki that would be good enough, that I wouldn't and didn't compare to her until I met Dee. I mean, it's really, we fight, but not very often. It's like being married to your best friend. And I think that's how it should be in a relationship. I we allow each other to be each other. There's no there's no I don't have to be a certain way. I can just be me, good or bad. She can be whatever. She's a social butterfly. She goes out and does stuff. She likes to get stuff done, like her hair, her nails, her toes. But you know what? She did all that shit before her and I started dating. So even if the money's tight, sometimes she still goes and does that. I'd never take that from her. That's what she's been doing all of her life. It'd be like her trying to take music from me. It's what she likes. Music's what I like. So we do our own things. The only thing is respect. Most important part of a relationship is having respect for each other. She can go do whatever the hell she wants to do, whenever she wants to do it. Just as long as she texts and says I'm doing it. Likewise, if I wanted to go somewhere after work, all I gotta do is text and say, hey, I'm going. Common courtesy gets you a long way in relationships. It's got to be a two-way street. That's the problem. one side of a relationship, if one person in the relationship tries to change the other person in any way that's, I guess, dramatic change, like if it's something that you knew that was part of that person when you started dating them, maybe there's part of their character that drives you crazy or whatever. You signed up for that shit. That's who they are. So if you try to change that, it's going to cause resentments. And a lot of relationships fail because of it. If you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with somebody for that, for them, good and bad. It's not your place to mold somebody. They're human beings, they're individuals. It's not your role to create somebody. Humans aren't robots. And flaws can be beautiful if dealt with correctly. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is I have untreated bipolar. I don't take anything to control the mood swings. So I've gotten a lot better at it, but Dee's always had to deal with which me you're going to get. Never in like an angry way, but like in a happy, talkative, or super depressed way. You know what I mean? And uh yeah, I was on Seroquel for a while. So it's hard when you don't have that stuff. It was hard for her for a long time to understand what was going on with me and not take it personal like it was something that she did or that I was like trying to not be honest with her or share with her or was trying to hide something from her when it was never any of that. It was just that I was in a depressed state and I had to let it ride. And from an outsider watching that, it's hard to cope with sometimes. So that was our biggest struggle when it comes to me. You know, hers was, there was a lot of hurdles to climb from past relationships that she was in that I had to prove that I wasn't. And for her, it was dealing with living with somebody with severe bipolar. So it wasn't always easy. It was pretty toxic in the beginning, honestly, because we're both bullheaded motherfuckers. We've been together for 10 years. We've been married for 6 in September. But actually, I've known her longer than that. When my son was born, uh, his mom and I were still together. And Eric and Kelly, our best friends that I talk about, not Cuzzo, a different Eric, they, Kelly worked for a place and a guy had a limo service. And so we got a limo and it was Dee and her ex and me and my ex and Eric and Kelly, we all took a limo to Tom Petty, and that's where we like actually like met for the first time. But for a couple years there, we would all go over and hang out at Eric and Kelly's house, and she was still with him, and I was still with Jesse's mom. So it was just a friend thing, and then the time came where we both were single, and we've been together ever since. You being a weirdo, Elijah. I gotta sit here and read all your messages and make you behave, crazy boy. You getting quirky on us? She wasn't my ex at the time, Elijah. Her and I were together. Dee was with another guy. We all went as friends. You cray, man. Cray. Anyways, I think I'm going to get off here soon. It's like 1:30. I need to get some sleep. But I definitely enjoy doing this with you guys and hanging out with you guys. Oh, is he? Alright. I guess I'm just not sleeping today. Just hang out with you guys all day. Yeah, we'll do this again. I'd like to do these on Wednesdays. That's something I wanted to talk to you guys about before I got off today. What up, Mark? How you doing, man? But anyways, I'm thinking about doing these on Wednesdays. Um, Work was good. Right now, I am working by myself. So we just went to 3 crews, which is why I'm not on 12s anymore. So now I work 8-hour days. I do the MAD schedule. So this week I'm on midnights. So I work from 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Next week I'll be on afternoons for a week. So I'll work from 3 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. And then the following week I'll be on daylights. So I'll do 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So, with that being said, if we were going to make this a regular Wednesday thing, it couldn't be a consistent time. Every week it would have to change. Like when I'm on midnights, the mornings are good. When I'm on afternoons, it'd probably have to be at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Which we have some night owls and we have some daytime people here. So, I mean, I don't know if we could do whatever. And then the week of daylights, I'd probably do it like from like 4 to 5. We hang out for like an hour before Dee gets home from work. But we can make this an every Wednesday thing. It's just going to have to be not a set time. So next Wednesday, it'll probably be like 1 o'clock in the morning and we can get on and hang out. This Sunday coming up, I think Eric's going to do the Broken Misfits Sunday because I'll have my son this weekend. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys that. I was proud of my boy. He saved his money up and bought a puppy a couple weeks ago with his own money. He made the deal with his mom that he'd buy all the food, he'd take care of her, he'd make sure whatever. And yeah, so I was pretty proud of him for that. Her name's Lily. You guys will see her next weekend. I'll make a little video of her or something. I haven't met her in person yet, but part of the deal was Elijah, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. That shit made me salty. That little shithead got a dog before me. Elijah knows that because I've made it very well known for 9 out of the last 10 years of this relationship that I want a dog. We have 3 cats and still no dog. The problem with us is that she wants something you can put in your purse. That's not a dog to me. And I want a dog. Doesn't have to be a 200-pounder, but I want, like, I don't know, a lab. Really what I want I'll never be able to afford. And then I have health problems anyways. But either way, Elijah knows that. And my boy at 14 got a dog before I did. And I own my own house. So yeah, thanks for rubbing that in. Like I said, the kids get everything. But yeah, so as part of that, when he comes to visit, he has to bring the dog because that's his responsibility. So now when he comes, I'll have Lily here. So you guys will get to meet Lily. Got 3 cats though. Squeaky thinks he's a dog. That's the big fat orange one in that one short clip I did. The Garfield looking one. His name's Squeaky. He cackles, follows you around everywhere. He's ridiculous. He's getting old though. I'm starting to worry about him. That insurance shit that's making it happen that way? Go ahead, Elijah. I'll keep it in the front seat of the car. Zoloft. I think I had to take that. What is that for? That sounds familiar. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a newer one, isn't it? I haven't been on that one before. I was on, I think it was Licinipro, is what they had me on for a long time. I told her, I keep telling her one of these days I'm just going to come home with one. But we make all our decisions together, so I don't want to do that. But I do want a damn dog. She's worried about the cats. That's one of the bigger problems. She's worried that the cats won't be okay with him. But these damn cats are going to outlive. She's like, well, when one of them goes, you can get a dog. Well, they're going to outlive me. These damn cats will live forever. And I love them. I just want a dog. Ours are pretty cool. I got one that has the black one that I did the little video on. She has I think it's called wobble head syndrome or some shit. She was born that way. So like she walks in circles. She's deaf. She's perfectly healthy otherwise. But like I don't know, you put something in the middle of the room, she has to like circle it. She's just odd. Yeah, and I think if you got it as a puppy, they'd be fine. Some of them can be mean. Mine are cool though. We spoil them. It's all about how you raise an animal, whether it's a cat, a dog, whatever. It's just like people. If you raise them lovey-dovey, they're going to be lovey-dovey. Squeaky's too damn lovey-dovey. He's constantly up my ass. Yeah, Garfield, Squeaky. Tell me he don't look like a real-life Garfield. He's a big motherfucker. We did this shirt earlier. There you go. That's what I was telling them. Stupid stomach. My mother-in-law got me that, and she's like, she used to be a partier back in the day, but now she's like as square can be. And then I open a Christmas present up, and it's this shirt from her. It shocked the hell out of me. I laughed so hard. Anyways, after this cigarette, I'm gonna go off, guys. I gotta go to bed. I gotta work tonight. What kind of mental issues does the pup have? Courtney, you live. What's going on? How you doing? Sleep is for when I'm dead, sir. I'll get a couple hours. It's nice I don't have to leave till 10 o'clock now. At least it's not as early. I used to have to leave at 6 to go to work every day on midnights. Now I at least have till 10, so I can play around a little bit with it. It's good to see you, Courtney. You made it to the first ever live on my channel. Other than the game nights, that's not really the same thing. But this is the first one, Courtney, and I think we're going to start doing them every Wednesday. It'll just be at different times because of my schedule. We missed you too. Hopefully you're feeling a little better. I know it's a process. I'll I'll put a picture later on tonight when I get to work of Lily in the Discord feed for you guys. She's cute. Yeah, but I wear bald better than you. The beach has a way of healing you a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, well, you put a Coke straw up it enough, it'll get bigger than the other one. Hell yeah, man. There's nothing like it. I miss the water. I mean, I have the river. I've showed you guys it before. One of these days, maybe we'll go down. Maybe I'll do one of these lives down at the river one day. There's a playground pavilion type area right by my house. Sit down on the river and do it maybe one day. But it's not the same. Like I want the bay or the ocean. It's right across the street. I can see the river from my bedroom window. I prefer the ocean too. I mean, like I said, the river's nice, but when you grew up in Virginia Beach or on the Chesapeake Bay, or in Florida, it's just not the same. Like the river here now, when we were kids, we used to swim in it. But the currents and shit have changed so much that I can sit here and it happens, unfortunately, at least once every couple years since I've been living here. People go down there and they don't ever come back. There was a younger kid the one year that went swimming with his girlfriend down there and he never came back. The last time that it happened, there was this older couple. It was so sad. This older couple were out in their boat and he was trying to put the boat on the trailer and he slipped and went in the water and never found him again. They're drowning. The currents in the rivers around here are ridiculous now. I've seen them. I've lived in this house for 10 years. And in the last 10 years, there's been 5 people that drowned down at the boat ramp by my house. You can't fuck around with it. It's crazy. You can see the water. You can see that it's like, it's weird. For it being a river, it just changes so much. So yeah. But yeah, when we were kids, we used to swim in it all the time growing up. It's not the same now. I don't know what happened. You gotta be careful in the river. You don't know what's there. I think the scariest water thing, well, two of them. Ocean wise, the scariest thing that I've ever had happen to me was a few years ago when my dad was sick. Jen and Justin and my stepmom and my dad and my aunt, we all went down to North Carolina to go to the beach one last time. And I had the boys out, and there was this, what is that? What do they call that? A rift or whatever. You know how you go out, and then it gets real shallow, and you can stand there. we were out there on one of those. And we were out there. And growing up on the water, I've never had this happen before. That fucking thing just disappeared. It just sunk from underneath our feet. And now I'm out there. Like, I can see the shore, but I'm pretty far out there. And I got, yeah, a sand dune. It just fucking disappeared. It was gone. And so now I got both boys out there, and I'm trying to drag them in. It was scary. But yeah, in all my life of dealing with that, I was down in Pensacola for 2 hurricanes. That was kind of crazy being down on the ocean when you have hurricanes and shit. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been through that before. But that was interesting. They all made fun of me because they were all locals and I was freaking out and they were throwing parties and shit. Hurricane parties. I'm like, you guys are fucking crazy. By the second one, though, I was doing the same thing. Courtney, you got a bunch of videos to catch up on my channel. A bunch of car talks if you want to. I think that's why I like the Bay. I don't know, it was more predictable. Like, I lived in Solomon's Island. Well, I grew up in a town called Lusby, Maryland, which is about 45 minutes south of Washington, D.C. If you got on Pennsylvania Avenue and left the White House and drove straight south from there, that road turns into a highway called Route 24, and it takes you right down to where I grew up at. But Solomon's Island, my wife and I still try to go there at least a weekend this summer. We love it there. It's a mile-long island, and you can jump across what makes it an island. What had happened over the years back in the day, was a big oyster area. And so they would chuck all the shells, and over the years, those shells built up. And this island is a mile long from end to end, and it's completely made of oyster shells. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Ocean City's cool. I grew up where I lived at in Maryland, I think was maybe 3.5 hours from Ocean City. Something like that. I remember going the one year with some friends and staying there. So, but when we go down there, the nice thing about down there is there's a marina hotel. You don't see no booger. And the hotel is just off the island. So when we go down there, we stay at that hotel and we walk the rest of the weekend. You don't even need to use your car for anything. Boy, what would you do if it wasn't for you trying to think you're funny making jokes about me? He thinks he got jokes, ladies and gentlemen. He thinks he got jokes. He a funny man. When we were kids growing up, uh, Jen and I's side of the family, every year they would go down to North Carolina for the summer. And when we first started doing it, it was just like a condo. By the time they stopped, it would be like 15 people, and there'd be like houses with elevators and all this stuff. And we would go down, and one of the things I remember is we would go out and catch crabs, like the sand crabs. There was like one night a week. Every time we went, we'd go out there like dumbasses with flashlights, chasing crabs down the beach trying to catch them. That was always fun. All right, guys. And thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go lay down for a little while. I will do this again next Wednesday. I will let you know what time. But like I said, it's probably going to have to be late, like 12, 1 o'clock at night. No, I won't even get home till at least 12. So probably like 1 o'clock. But I'll keep in touch with you guys and I'll let you know. But I like doing this. I think I had fun today, so I think we're going to start doing this. So on Wednesdays, we'll hang out for a couple hours and just check in with each other. It was good seeing you, Courtney. I'm glad you're starting to do better. Hang in there. All right, guys. Again, thanks for hanging out. Love you guys. I'm out. Peace.